A full Tuesday slate around Major League Baseball. That means 15 games on the diamond, all 30 MLB clubs in action. And a really compelling game, DRS, tonight in Southern California between divisional foes and in-state rivals. The San Diego Padres host the San Francisco Giants. For most of the first 3.5 weeks or so of this MLB campaign, best record in the NL West, best record in all of the bigs. That was the San Diego Padres. Still not bad, 17-11. But last week, DRS, not overly kind to San Diego. They were on the road. They have dropped 7 of their last 10. But we thought returning home over the weekend, they'd be good. Hosting the Rays, the Padres' sensational inside Petco Park. They were swept by Tampa. San Diego remains in San Diego. In the top team now in the NL West, the San Francisco Giants, 19-10, looking to join the New York Mets in the 20-win club today against Nick Pivetta and the Padres. But Pivetta and the Padres not booked as the home favorite. It's Logan Webb and the Giants on the road as an ever-so-slight favorite as well. Keep an eye on that total, 6.5 DRS. We are expecting a great pitching duel between Webb and the man you call pitching Pivetta. Are we going to see such a thing tonight in Southern California?
I mean, why not? You take a look at the FanDuel Sportsbook. You open this price point around that minus 124 number. It's dipped a little bit live now to minus 120. Other outlets as high as minus 130. But you take a look at that total, which opened up at 6.5, which is extremely low, and still sitting at 6.5 across the market. Now, when you take a look at the two pitchers on the mound, here's the reason why. It's a great pitcher's ballpark, yes. But Logan Webb on the card today, number 1 overall in xFIP at a 2.12, coupled with an ERA of 1.98. And you take a look and say, Donnie, you've really preached how good Nick Pivetta has been. He's been great. 30 innings pitched so far this season. How about a 1.20 ERA backed up with a 3.39 xFIP number? So prices on the total make sense, but it is low. 3 for one side, you automatically get that. You had an extra innings at 2-2, you probably get it as well. So sometimes when you're factoring in that, if you're contrarian, you would just go to the over. Two good pitchers. Eventually it's going to line up, and maybe 1 or 2 gets knocked around a little bit, which is okay, the way to handicap it. But for me, if I'm looking at an under in this game, Ben, probably not coming from the long distance, which means, yes, Logan Webb can go 8 innings. Pivetta can go 7 innings. It could be 1-0, and you win it going away. But nobody likes to lose the total blown up when the pitchers aren't in the game, or you have that backboard as extra innings. You go to extra innings in a 7-point number that you need, or 7-point run number, and you say it's 1-1. Oh, you should easily get it. Not necessarily. Oh, look at that. 1 run scored here, 1 run scored there. Top of the 11th inning, it's 2-2. And then you're in danger with 1 more run on each side, and you lose it. First 5 innings under, probably the best look, because both of these lineups can hit. But these two pitchers in that environment, I'm not expecting a ton of runs. And over the first 5 innings, I expect the best out of these two pitchers.
DRS, we talked about the San Diego Padres just a couple of weeks ago in that historic start at home against the Chicago Cubs. 11 straight home victories, lost their first game, bounced back with a win. 12-1 at home, 15-4 overall before they started on a road stand. They lost now 7 of their last 9, including the home sweep this weekend at the hands of the Rays. They're 17-11. The San Francisco Giants have won 5 of their last 7. Again, 19-10. Best record in the NL West. But everybody in the National League, everybody in MLB looking up at the New York Mets. The first team to get to 20 wins in the bigs this year, scoring 19 runs yesterday to split their 4-game extended weekend set against the Washington Nationals. The Mets return home to Citi Field to host the Arizona Diamondbacks. New York, this will be their first series of 2 against the D-backs in their next 3 sets. A road weekend in St. Louis before heading out to the desert. This week, though, the New York Mets at home, minus 142 as they welcome in the D-backs to Flushing, total at 8.5. What do you like today between the Diamondbacks and the Amazons?
Yeah, you probably would figure that New York should be the favorite here, but take a look at the pitching matchup here as we go, because Eduardo Rodriguez for Arizona will be on the mound. 28 2/3 innings pitched this season, Ben. The ERA a little bit high, 4.40, but the analytical numbers, like the expected ERA, 2.86. The xFIP number, elite at 2.84, which means he's getting just a little bit unlucky. You look at that lineup today as it probably will present itself going up against left-handed pitching this year, hasn't been all that great. Lindor has struggled. Juan Soto does have a high weighted on base percentage, but not a lot of ISO power numbers. Alonso, Nimmo, and Acuna here in the lineup have higher ISO power numbers. Everybody else a little bit less. So maybe the better pitcher on the mound could be for Arizona. Even though you said like David Peterson has been great this season. You look at the ISO power number against 103, weighted on base percentage, average at 322. Lefty on lefty, he's been tremendous here. Righties hasn't given up a lot of power, but a little bit slightly high weighted on base percentage. But look at his season so far. 27 and a third innings pitched, a 3.29 ERA, coupled with a 2.88 xFIP number. Here's the temperatures in New York today, close to 70 degrees. How about double digits blowing out to dead center field? It's a shame that we have two pitchers with low xFIP numbers because that's a perfect recipe for these two ball clubs, as hot as they are at the plate, to do some damage. I just don't know if I can get there. So for me, if I think it's more of a coin flip, probably leaning towards the underdogs in the Diamondbacks today, but not a clear path to who I love at the plate.
Yeah, line working a little bit to the Mets, minus 138 there, now minus 142. Again, the Mets have been great. They are the first team to get to 20 wins in MLB. The Dodgers have won 3 straight. They entered Saturday on a 3-game slide. They've responded with 3 consecutive wins, including the series opener last night, DRS, in Los Angeles against the Marlins. The Dodgers opened up a 5-0 lead after 5 frames. The Marlins responded to force extras. They took an early lead in the top of the 10th. It was a Tommy Edman 2 RBI single that scored both Andy Pages and Michael Conforto. The Dodgers walking it off in 10 innings, 7-6 over the Fish. Nearly a $2 favorite at home today against Sandy Alcantara and Miami. Will the Dodgers make good on that hefty price? No starter listed, though, DRS on FanDuel.
Yeah, it's taking a look at Sauer, who last year only had 84 batters he faced, and this year has only faced 6. So maybe an opener for the Dodgers tonight, which is kind of interesting, just depending on how they feel about going about it. But the one thing you do look at is say, well, maybe the Marlins can get the Sauer. They had a lot of excitement last night, shooting a grand slam for the Marlins that tied that game up, but the Dodgers end up prevailing. You usually would say to yourself, look, I'm just going to back Sandy Alcantara in this game. Should be easy. 23 and a third innings pitch, Ben. A 6.56 ERA, but a 4.23 xFIP number, which is still dangerous territory when you get into it tonight. You look at the total in this game, and that's probably the better way to go. You're not getting a full blast, great Dodgers starting pitcher in this game, and who knows how long he lasts. That 8.5 probably could be in trouble tonight, really.
Looks like Matt Sauer, the opener for Dave Roberts. More MLB next. Live right here on this Tuesday on the early line on SportsGrid, all around MLB. 15 games, 30 clubs, a full Tuesday slate. Divisional foes continue to face off against one another today in Camden Yards. The Orioles, DRS, and the Yankees getting ready for the second game of this midweek set. The Yanks and Carlos Rodon, a minus 148 favorite on this Tuesday evening. Total 9.5. Again, some pretty nice weather here on the East Coast early in the week. Baltimore winning yesterday 4-3 in the opening game of this set. Can the Yankees respond to even things up after 2 games in Baltimore?
Yeah, tough scene for Baltimore tonight. Carlos Rodon's going to be on the mound. Now, last year, a lot of struggling there. People upset, makes a lot of money, should be better. This year has corrected a lot of his ways so far. Only 144 batters faced, but an ISO against of 138 and a weighted on base percentage of 259. But the key ingredient is to right-handed batters, Ben. 112 batters he's faced from the right side, of 117 ISO, very good, and a clean weighted on base percentage of 241. And how about a K rate to right-handed batters? Almost 34%. You take a look at his seasonal statistics, 36 innings pitched, a 3.50 ERA and a 3.34 xFIP number. This is the pitcher that the Yankees expected when they acquired him via free agency. Now, let's take a look at the Baltimore lineup tonight. The guys that'll be in there, Cedric Mullins is a lefty. He's hit left-handed pitching very well. You take a look at Ramon Urias, also has hit left-hand pitching well. Everybody else, atrocious. And now we're going to see Kyle Gibson on the mound for the first time this season to see how that prevails. Grisham, Judge, and Rice all higher numbers. So when we look at the side, it should be the Yankees as a favorite. I don't know how many runs we're going to get out of Baltimore tonight, even though 81-degree temperatures with a double-digit wind blowing out to dead center field. Maybe we take a look at some of those home run shots for the New York Yankees tonight. But Rodon is the better pitcher tonight. I do think the Yankees win.
Yeah, that's why they're favored, DRS. The odds certainly backing that up. Yesterday, Ryan O'Hearn, a 3-run shot that put Baltimore up 4-zip. The Yankees did rally to make things interesting late. The O's holding on for a victory. Again, when you look at the standings around the American League East, Baltimore just 11-17 despite the win in the opening game of the set yesterday. The Yankees still the best record in that division, 17-12. Aaron Judge, 2 more base knocks yesterday, batting .405 this year. A home run in the doubleheader against the Blue Jays on Sunday, but just 1 long ball in his last 11 games. They do call this day Dinger Tuesday, or at least they did. From that American League East rivalry to another one within the division tonight in Toronto. The Red Sox and the Blue Jays squaring off in the 6th. Garrett Crochet gets the nod for Boston. The Red Sox, because of it, with their ace on the bump, a favorite in Toronto. Total stands at 7.5. What do you like today between the Jays and the Red Sox?
It's a shame we don't have this game in Boston, right? Because you would have had 18-mile-an-hour winds blowing out to right field, which really would set up some left-handed batters that I like tonight, which we'll get to in just a moment. But Crochet's been great. 6 starts this year, 37 innings pitched, a 1.95 ERA, and an xFIP number of 3.15. You'll take that each and every time. You take a look at Crochet on the season. Look at the ISO against, Ben. 0.38, fantastic. Weighted on base percentage, 228, fantastic. K-rate combined between lefty and righty batters, 30%, which includes a 40% strikeout rate to left-handed batters, completely neutralizing them. But I want to focus on the Boston batters because I don't know if the roof's going to be open or not, but it's a dome. Wind's not really going to creep into there all that much and help out, but that's okay. If we look at Bowden Francis on the mound, 64 left-handed batters he's faced this year, Ben, a 309 ISO and a weighted on base percentage of 363 against. That is the danger zone. So you take a look at some of the left-handed batters that have done well against right-handed pitching for those Red Sox this year. 94 at-bats for Duran in the leadoff spot, 366 weighted on base percentage. Rafael Devers, who had that terrible start, now up to a 208 ISO and a 341 weighted on base percentage against right-handed pitching. And then one of my favorite guys in the lineup, Wilyer Abreu, 90 at-bats against right-handed pitching, a 266 ISO and a weighted on base percentage of 404. Yes, Boston is favored to the better team tonight, but if I'm looking from a player perspective, those left-handed batters, based on, I'm going to focus on a little bit more about Francis later today, on those splits together, that's the direction I'm going. Left-handed bats for Boston should do some damage tonight.
The Blue Jays 2 games sub 500. The Red Sox 2 games above 500. Boston winning the final 2 of their weekend set against the Guardians to win that series. The Red Sox were 8-10 on April 14th since they have won 8 of their last 12. The Red Sox and the Yankees, the only 2 teams currently in the American League East above 500. Again, a lot of great baseball on this Tuesday. We've previewed about 5 games. I'm sure DRS will have plenty more on the money line starting at 11 a.m. Eastern time on SportsGrid Radio.